a Canadian radio sanctuary podcast.
One of BC Ferries' most popular and commuter-ridden routes is the one to Bowen Island. Captain Dave Ross is at the controls of the Howe Sound Queen.
That's one thing with this one, you can't stop thinking. You can't let your mind be bored. Otherwise you get into trouble pretty fast. Not like, say, the bigger ones where you can drift off for a couple of hours because you've got other staff to look after it. But on here, this is it. And you've got to be on your toes all the time.
The captain on a larger run, what is the crew size roughly?
Well, on the larger one, you've got anywhere from 20, 21, 25 people to about 37, 40 and up. You know, so on here we've only got 6. That's chief engineer, oiler, and master and mate, and 2 seamen. So everybody's got their job to do, and it's pretty well taken care of every second, pretty well.
Do a number of you live on Bowen Island, or is it sort of 50-50?
No, nobody lives on Bowen Island because of the ship is tied up in Horseshoe Bay, so that the only way you could get across to join her on the ships is to have your own boat, and which is in rough weather. Because in the winter, it's pretty rough on a small boat. Mind you, they do tie her up in the summer. It is tied up in at Snug Cove on Bowen Island. And then a water taxi is used back and forth for the crew.
Captain Ross says most travelers in the off-season are people who live on the island and work in Vancouver. Nearly 27 years old and still running strong, the BC Ferry system is full of talented veterans who keep the 39 vessels sailing smoothly. One such person is Senior Chief Engineer John Brown, who's kept the Bowen Island ferries going since 1978.
I was with the Merchant Marine and the sailing out of the UK for about 15 years.
Now, on this run from Horseshoe Bay to Bowen Island and back in a day or a week, how much fuel would you need?
Well, we on a normal day's service we consume about 1,300 litres. That's for a normal day.
What are we talking? Diesel fuel?
Diesel fuel, yeah. And then we carry about 8,000 litres in our storage tanks.
What kind of maintenance? What would some of your daily routine involve?
Well, we follow a maintenance schedule whereby we keep a running check on the machinery, and hopefully that resolves our downtime and keeps it to a minimum, we hope.
What is the siren that goes off just as we entered the dock here?
Well, that was testing of the engine alarms, etc. Normally this vessel sails out about 8:55 at night from Horseshoe Bay, and we go back to Horseshoe Bay to tie up for the night. But the schedule is from Snug Cove, and the first run in the morning is 6:25, so we leave Horseshoe Bay in time to pick up that schedule from Bowen Island.
The Horseshoe Bay to Snug Cove run is 20 minutes, one of the shortest routes in the system. Person in charge of passenger services on one of the BC ferries on the Langdale to Horseshoe Bay sailing is Inger Vadoy.
I'm a chief steward for the winter, for January, February and March. I have a D-watch on the Clino Cowichan.
Now, what are some of your responsibilities, please?
Well, I'm in charge of the catering department and all passenger areas on the vessel, and anything to do with the passengers. I quite enjoy working on the ferries. Have been here since 1973.
Exactly how much food is consumed, taken in on these ferry runs? Can you give us some figures? I think you have some from last year.
Yes, I've got some example that during Expo, the 2 months of August, July and August, we had sales fleet-wide for about 9.5 million. And this figure would actually put the catering department almost in the top 100 restaurants for that particular period. We had 4.5 million passengers with average sales of $2 each, which is quite good. Certain statistics we have, for instance, about $44,000 in groceries, $113,000 in cold beverages, 22,000 gallons of soup, and 173,000 sandwiches, 85,000 gallons of coffee, and 34 tons of hamburgers. It's quite a mountain. And 150,000 buffet dinners.
Inger Bedoy also oversees the 6 to 8 video game machines on board. She says they're very popular. The crew of the BC Ferry Corporation's vessels have their work down to a fine-tuned routine, but careful attention is paid at all times to maintain safety. Captain Don Farnson says an ongoing communication keeps the bridge in touch with all facets of the ship.
So that if something has happened with the control system to the engine room or whatever, then we don't start unloading or letting foot passengers off until everything is absolutely finished and the engines have been set to push into the dock and everything, and we have got the all clear and given the all clear to the engine room and everything that everything is fine. Then we start moving traffic. The person on the car deck is also waiting for the information that we have actually finished maneuvering. It's not a sort of a thing where they're saying, well, the ship has stopped moving in the dock, so it's time to unload. We have to make sure that everything is finished with and that the engines are turning the right way and whatnot. It's just a procedure to make sure that we don't have a slip up and back out of the dock while we're still unloading traffic or just starting to unload traffic.
On a run whereby there might be, what's a good example here? You wouldn't be pulling out right away, like within 20 minutes or so. You might have an hour or more layover in that particular terminal. Do you keep the engines running all the time, or would you shut them down depending on how long you're going to be there?
Depending on how long we're going to be there, we would, if possible, shut the engines down strictly from our fuel-saving point of view.
Farnson's been captain for 1 year. He was relief captain for 10 years.